to Los Angeles, where LeBron James and the Lakers welcomed Portland to town. LeBron unofficially had this year 32 in the league. Just feels that way. Actually, he feels timeless because the talent, the bounce, it just doesn't wane. Out in transition there. LeBron had 12 in the first quarter. 5-point lead for the Blazers in the third. Backdoor pass from Davis to LeBron, and the Lakers are within 3. A few minutes later, the Lakers now up 7. And they've been remarkable when they've led through 3, and they would yet again. LeBron to Davis. Lakers lead by 1 heading into the fourth, but this Blazers team, they have a number of capable scorers. Gary Trent Jr. looked for the foul call, didn't get it, but it got the 3, and he'll get this triple as well as the Blazers start to stretch out that lead. 2-point lead for the road team. Montrezl Harrell, 1, 2, and 3 the hard way. Lakers have the lead. Dame Lillard, float game. If Steve were here, he would say on point. And Dame Lillard goes for 31. Trent, 7 of 11 from 3. He had 28. And the Blazers give the Lakers their second lead and their first lead when holding a third-quarter lead in 60 games. They'd won 59 consecutive. You see the longest streaks through 3 quarters of NBA games holding a lead. That remarkable Warriors team that just got out and dump truck people 180.
Take that back. Number 1 is Dame Dolla, Damian Lillard.
Yeah, get that one right.
Just putting on another show, doing what he's doing. Damian Lillard is the best player in the National Basketball Association right now. Plain and simple. He was the MVP of the bubble. He ended the final 3 games scoring over 30, averaging about 37. When you look at what he did last night, yet again, some long-range daggers. Give Gary Trent a lot of love defending LeBron James and hit the big-time 3. Give my man Melo some love. Finished with 11 points, 10 rebounds. He hit a big-time 3 in the last 2.5 minutes. Give them all credit. But what it really comes down to, and C.J. McCollum had a strong third quarter, but what it really comes down to is Damian Lillard. This side of Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, this brother, the marksmanship, the sniper-like abilities, he is the best basketball player in the world right now. You combine that with the fact that the Lakers can't seem to shoot, and ladies and gentlemen, we have a problem in L.A. LA's in some trouble. It's just one game, and we understand that. And unlike Barkley, who ridiculously called for a sweep because that ain't gonna happen, or unlike some folks out there that think that the Lakers are going to lose this series, I think they still may win it in 7. But this is going to be a nail biter. The Blazers are not going anywhere because they've got a great backcourt with one of the great players in the game today who looks like the best player on the planet right now in Damian Lillard. LeBron and those boys are going to have to come up with something to figure out. Hitting three-point shots, perimeter shots would be one thing. Finding a way to neutralize this brother is another. Good luck, since he practically pulls up from the parking lot these days.
Yeah, I mean, we can't just sit here and have a fawning contest over Damian Lillard, but that's the obvious answer. And Stephen A., you're right. He's been the best player in the NBA, like he's the MVP of the bubble. And he's been playing at an amazingly high level. By the way, in 1981, there was a work stoppage in baseball, a strike. And so it was really 2 separate seasons. They didn't play a complete season, but it was 2 separate seasons. And as I remember, the number 1 seed, so to speak, in baseball, the best ranked team, from the first half of the season and the second half, broken up by the strike, had to play essentially a playing game to see who advanced in the playoffs. And, of course, there's not enough time to do that in this season because the vast majority of the regular season happened pre-bubble. But it is like 2 different seasons right now. We can say that whoever was the MVP in the first half, and we see this, and we're talking Bucks today, obviously, and we're talking Lakers, but we've seen that with this team. The Lakers were peaking when the bubble, when the shutdown occurred, and now they have to refine themselves. This is not the same team, at least not the same kind of, they're not playing the same kind of way. And in the meantime, however the Blazers played before the stoppage, since the advent of the bubble, since they entered the bubble, Damian Lillard is the best basketball player in the world. Forget about the numbers for a second, because he's putting up ridiculous numbers. Look at the moments in the game at which he's coming up biggest. You bring up Steph Curry, and Stephen A. Steph Curry, I believe, has turned over the years into a clutch player, a money on the line in the finals type player. But he hasn't always been that way. A lot of times Steph did not play his best in the finals, right? And we don't know. Let's see how deep Damian Lillard gets into the playoffs. He could still have bad games. But Damian Lillard is like Steph Curry, but a Steph Curry who gets better in the biggest moments. That's an unstoppable force. LeBron gets, I think he was rejected at the rim by Whiteside, at least in the paint by Whiteside, in a tie game in the middle of the fourth quarter. And down comes Damian Lillard and pulls up from 10 feet behind the arc and nails a three in rhythm like for almost anyone else who ever lived, and certainly pre-Steph Curry. That's a terrible shot. You get yelled at by the coach.
It was
but
13,
this dude,
it was 13 feet behind the arc, to be specific. 13 feet.
13 feet. By the way, if you take a shot 3 feet behind the arc, that's a deep three, right? You could add 3 feet to the 10 feet I said. It's ridiculous. His finger is on the pulse of the game. Every time you think momentum's going the other way. Remember, they were even talking about on the broadcast. The Portland looks gassed, and the Lakers are coming on. It felt like, okay, here comes LeBron. He's got AD. Danny Green, if he gets a little hot. And Damian Lillard said, nope, Dame time. And Danny Green's got to hit shots, no question. He's their three-point specialist on this team, and he's not doing that. But Damian Lillard is the answer right now. And he's the best player in the world. You're right.
Well, listen, the reason why I felt wholeheartedly, remember we asked the question yesterday, Max, what was the best chance? The Lakers, the Portland winning the series or the Lakers sweeping? And I said it's Portland winning the series because ain't no way in hell they're getting swept. You saw them swept in the Western Conference Finals. The very next playoff series, we see they're going to get swept again with the way Damian Lillard is rolling. Hell no, that ain't happening. But let me take a moment to call out the Lakers. Did not tell you. It's not about what Anthony Davis does, it's how he does it. Anthony Davis had 28 points, 8 of 24 shooting, minus 20 on the court. Come on, you got to do better than that, AD. You all world, you got to do better than that. And let me sit up there and ask Frank Vogel a question, rhetorically albeit. What the hell is Kentavious Caldwell-Pope and Alex Caruso doing on the court for 29 minutes? They combined for 1 of 15 shooting. KCP was 0 for 9. My God, could you show a post, pretty please, with sugar on top? I mean, just do something. 0 for 9 shooting in 29 minutes. And Alex Caruso, listen. Hey, listen, just because there was once a movie, White Guys Can't Jump, and he defies that because he clearly can jump, doesn't necessarily mean he can play. And I'm not saying he can't play because I like Alex Caruso, but he was 1 of 6 from the field in 29 minutes. Why am I bringing that up? I mean, damn, Deion Waiters 1 minute, J.R. Smith 0. I mean, come on, Frank Vogel, you can't put them in. You ain't getting perimeter shoot from anywhere else. Can you try those brothers? Pretty please. Deion Waiters and J.R. Smith has shown an ability to get streaky.
Lakers sweep or Blazers win? What's the more likely outcome here?
Well, I would pick the Blazers to win before I pick the Lakers to sweep them. I think the Lakers are going to win this series, but if I have to answer the direct question between the two greatest possibilities, I would pick the Blazers to win before I see a Lakers sweep based on what I've seen from the Lakers since they have arrived in this bubble. They are having trouble scoring the basketball. They are having trouble hitting perimeter shots. And against this Blazers, with this offensive juggernaut that they are, led by Damian Lillard, the MVP of the bubble that was averaging about 37. Look at C.J. McCollum, how he's dropped about 29 over the last 2 games, and the way that he's been balling. Carmelo Anthony hitting big shots. And I can't say enough about the marksman that Gary Trent has become. This brother can shoot the basketball. And so when I look at it from that perspective and I see the offensive gifts that Nurkic brings to the table as well, this team can score on anybody. You're going to have to outscore them to beat them. You're not going to contain them and prevent them from putting the ball in the hole. And because of that reality, combined with the way that the Lakers have been shooting the basketball and been struggling to shoot the basketball, I'm sorry, I'm not going to assume that this is a team, a Blazer squad that's going to get swept, particularly since the last time we saw them in the playoffs, they had gotten swept by a Kevin Durant-less Golden State Warriors team led by Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and Draymond Green. And so when I look at it from that perspective, I don't see that happening 2 years in a row or back-to-back series. You go from the Western Conference to getting swept again in the first round. I don't see that happening to Dame Dolla. I don't see that happening to CJ, and certainly not even Melo as well, who has had a resurgence and has reminded us that he had no business being out of this league for as long as he was out of this league. You can't find a roster spot. He's not won a top 15 player on a roster in the NBA. Just blasphemy, okay? So all of that has been thrown out to the wayside. Now it's about Portland. Again, I think they'll lose this series, but I could see it going 7 games, may go 6, but I'm predicting 7. But being swept, I think the Lakers would lose this series before the Blazers would be swept.
Well, first of all, about Carmelo, it's not just that what he's shown, that's remarkable. It's not just that he's one of the 15. He's one of the 5. He's a legit starting player on a very good team. But and as hard as it is for me to imagine Damian Lillard at this moment in time on any team you put him on, let alone a team with some talent like Portland, on any team, being swept right now, is he just not the getting swept type of dude right now? It'd be even harder for me to imagine the Lakers losing this series. Because when you look at Portland, they're giving up in the last 4, 5, 6 games, 122, 130. It's always 120 or 130 something points. And they're winning some of those games. They're also losing some of them. And they're winning by a possession or two. And they're winning because the other team's best player has a good enough look and happens to miss the shot. Or else, and by the way, that was with everything on the line and nothing was on the line for the Nets. They are playing bad defense. And it's hard for me to imagine a team playing defense as bad as the Blazers are playing, beating a Lakers team led by LeBron James with another top half-dozen player in the world on his team. When has ever a top-seeded team in any conference with 2 legitimate MVP contenders on the same team lost in the first round to a team with a bad defense? It ain't going to happen. It just hasn't happened yet. Now, then get a little deeper into it. McCollum is, talk about, I'll break my back for this team. He's playing with a broken back, and he's at times playing well, but how long is that going to last given his physical condition? On the flip side, look, the Lakers are a little bit three-point challenged, but Danny Green in a playoff series, he's had good series, he's had bad series, but if you're going to tell me, okay, who you got playing at least 25 minutes at the 2? Who's your 3-and-D guy? Danny Green, check. You don't have to worry about that. That's a check in the box. There's a reason that guy, when he's in San Antonio, is part of that winning culture and always in the playoffs. And then he goes to Toronto and the same thing, and they win a championship. He's kind of exactly what you're looking for as a 3-and-D guy as part of your starting 5 on a championship caliber team. That's all he's been his entire career, even if he's a little bit in decline. I still like my chances with him. So you're right, Stephen A. Both outcomes are unlikely. I think the least likely is the Lakers losing the series.
Wow, that's a lot to digest because I really just don't feel that either, like you said, either of these are reality. I think everyone agrees, and that's why it's also a great question. But Stephen A., to your point, you said that it's hard for you to believe that a Blazers could get swept back-to-back years after what happened against the Golden State Warriors. But don't forget, they were up 17, at least 17 in 3 of those games. In all 3 of those games, they lost. So for me, I understand that the Portland Trailblazers have all the talent. They got Dame. CJ's playing well. They got Nurkic back. They got Zach Collins. Carmelo's playing at an all-time high. But ultimately, I feel like it is more likely that the Lakers will sweep them. And it's not because the Lakers are dominant. The Lakers are not playing great basketball either. But the Portland Trailblazers have been playing playoff basketball for the last 2 weeks, and they are eking through, barely winning. And again, when I say barely winning, I mean they are doing just enough to get there against subpar teams, not teams to the same caliber as the Los Angeles Lakers. So in my opinion, I think it's more likely that the Lakers sweep then the Portland Trail Blazers win this series. And it's mainly because if you look at the path that they have gone, that is my opinion. And that's the reason why I believe that is because I just don't feel like the Portland Trail Blazers have been playing the type of basketball. And we can go from the conference finals all season up until now. They have done just enough to get here, which is a compliment to them because they've been through a lot. But I think it is more likely that the Lakers